Hello, this is Lawrence, cat lady, back with a new question that I have to answer very often. So I kind of figured once again I will do a video for it. It's a quick one. It's not going to be as long as the one I've done before. And a lot of people always wonder, when do I need to take, when is it time to, for me to take my cat to the vet? Everybody is different. I am always on the extra cautious side, mainly because cats are incredibly good at hiding when there's anything wrong. And there's a reason for that, right? They're predators in the wild, and they don't want to become the hunted. And so by hiding that they're not feeling well, they just kind of keep up the appearances, kind of, if you want to look at it that way. What it does for a house cat, though, is that usually by the time you actually kind of see that something is wrong, it's already very wrong, right? So a good thing to do, and I will always tell people, especially when you just adopted a cat, most of the time, especially if you get it from a reputable rescue, the cat will be healthy when you get it. Now, cats are easily stressed, and stress in cats equals disease, and that's just how it goes. Any kind of stress really brings down their immune system, and it kind of does that with us, maybe not quite as much, but we have more chances as well to get sick when we're stressed out, and we all know that. So a couple of recommendations, and I'll kind of segues just a little bit with that, and I'll talk more about what I'm going to tell you right now in details once we do the segment on how to bring a new cat into your house. But what I would recommend, if you just adopted a cat, to help with that, give them some lysine. And you can find that in the form of a powder. Hell, you can even find it at any of the pharmacy. Humans will take L-lysine, to kind of support their own immune system. So it's actually an amino acid, and all it does is it's supporting the cat's immune system and making it stronger on its own, so it can't fight the stress and can fight anything else that's kind of coming around and potentially make them sick. So if you start them on that right away, you can find it in form of powder that you can mix with the food if you're feeding wet. They also have it in treat form, and so that way especially for people that feed dry, not my favorite, but if you feed dry, a powder is just a little harder because it's not going to stick on the dry food just as well. So they have treats of lysine. So anyway, all of that to say that when you bring in a new cat, it might become stressed out from the new environment, and even though it was perfectly healthy at the rescue, it might still kind of get sick for you. But my point was to kind of schedule an appointment with your vet within the first 2 weeks you got the cat. We're going to assume it's healthy, and that gives your vet a baseline. All right, it's a point of reference that this is what the cat does when it's healthy. This is where, the coat looks like. This is how they eat. This is how much weight they weigh, and that kind of thing. So by the time something wrong happens, and all of a sudden, so what are the signs, right? Okay, so what are the signs that a cat's not feeling well? There's different ones, and so there's some basic ones. Your cat's gonna start sneezing a lot. That would be one, right? It's the beginning of an upper respiratory infection. Again, if you catch it early enough, it might actually not develop in anything bad, and it could just be allergies. There's plenty of reason why your cat would start sneezing, and sneezing on its own, it's not something to worry about, but it's kind of like a red flag. Your cat sneezing, okay, that means you need to start paying more attention. The cat is sneezing. Is there any kind of discharge? Is it clear or is it colored? It's just like for the humans, right? It's exactly the same way. You know that the minute it gets colored, you've got an infection, you need antibiotics. It's exactly the same thing for the cats. The problem with a cat, we kind of do the same thing, but it's like a million times worse with the cats. Once they can't breathe or smell the food, they won't eat. And then it's like a total like vicious circle, because if they don't eat, they get dehydrated. If they get dehydrated, they get sicker. And then if you don't pay attention and you don't take that cat to the vet fast enough, you could get yourself in serious trouble. Other signs that your cat's not feeling well: it's not grooming. That's a huge one. A cat that it's not that's not grooming itself, huge red flag. They extremely, I've said that so many times, but extremely clean. A cat that does not groom itself, red flag. A cat that's usually very active, social, that will come around and play, and and all of a sudden it's hiding in a corner, in a closet, under a bed, like really away from any kind of anything and not interacting, being very lethargic, not being active, not at all, red flag. A cat that won't eat, another red flag. Those are all signs that should really tell you, I need to take the cat to the vet. And again, as I said, by the time you get to that point, you need to hurry the cat to the vet. It's not something that can take another week. By the time you see it, it's almost already too late. So keep that in mind. Some other things. Okay, your cat has diarrhea. Now, sometimes they'll do just like us. They'll get into something that will give them diarrhea for a couple days. Wouldn't necessarily worry about that. Diarrhea for a week. Got to take the cat to the vet. Something's not right. A cat that constantly goes to the little box, looks like it needs to pee, but will just sit in that box for like 20 minutes and nothing's coming out. The cat needs to go to the vet. And in that case, the cat not only needs to go to the vet, but if it's already past our time, the cat needs to go to the emergency vet. Because especially if you have a male, it could be crystals, and crystals are extremely dangerous for kitties. So if you really see, if there's blood in the urine, anything like that, you have to take the cat to the vet right away. I've had many times my older cat, God bless her heart, she would just get UTIs, also urinary tract infection. She would get those like very often, and it was more than once that all of a sudden it's midnight and I didn't pay attention. Now again, it's me not paying attention and not the cat not telling me, because I was home and I did see the cat go to the little box like more often than normal. And finally, around midnight, I was just like, I should go and check. And there was just nothing. She had been in that little box like 15 times and there was nothing in it. And I called the emergency vet right away. I got her in there and she really had a bad urinary tract infection. And we got her on antibiotics, and within, a couple of days, it was all better. But again, had I really been paying more attention right away, I could have saved myself a trip to the ER, because really all the signs were there. I just did not pay attention. So a lot of what you need to do as an owner is really keep track. Some people journal. I think if you know your cat and you really pay attention to what they're doing, you should be able to pick up on something wrong. Again, I have a tendency to just be extremely overprotective, and the minute something seems off, I'd rather, go the other way, and I'd rather be overcautious than not enough. I learned my lesson. So there you go. So those are kind of like the feelers. Again, if you have any specific questions, if you wonder about something specific, feel free to ask below. But those are kind of like my tips on when should you take your cat to the vet. All right. Really nice catching up with you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, whatever you were doing before catching that video. And I will talk to you later.